Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Kezia Hinds Show. I am your host, Kezia Hinds, and this week's episode, I'd like to name it A Journey Across Many Seas because we have a very special guest today. His name is IBK. He is a native of Nigeria,
Mhm.
and he now lives in Edmonton, Alberta, and has been making a very huge difference in how Black entrepreneurs get recognized and network with each other. IBK, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time and for
Thank you so
coming
much.
to the Kezia Hines show.
Yeah, it's my
Um,
pleasure.
One of the first things I want to say though, throughout my journey, I've
hmm
understand gratitude is extremely important.
Very.
So what I
hmm
want to say is thank you so much for recognizing that I'm a Black entrepreneur
Yeah.
trying to get my ideas out there,
Okay.
and thank you for hosting me on your website.
No problem.
Lagos is known for its entrepreneurial
Right.
spirit. And what was your journey to entrepreneurship like, and what got you started?
I was born into entrepreneurship, so
Okay.
it's like I grew up with both parents not having a 9 to 5 like we have
Mm,
this day. So my dad was a so it's a handyman. So it's kind of like the Home Depot version of my where I was raised. So it
mhm.
does woodwork, carpentry, journeyman stuff, welding, plumbing, building, and all those things, right? So then my mom was also assisting him, so she also have like a so my dad does all the handiwork. My
Okay.
mom sells building materials. So if you're trying to build or construct shops or buildings, so my mom sells all those materials. So I grew up into the entrepreneurial family, and then growing up, even though while you go to school, when I come back from school, there was no going home. The
Mm,
school bus dropped me in my mom's shop. So
okay.
then it's like from school, we get up to my mom's shop around 4 p.m. Then you have
Mhm.
to do sales with my parents. And when I was a little kid, I would just watch. Then when I was growing up, at least I know stuff, right? So I will help them carry stuff, load into the vehicle. When I started writing very well, my mom showed me how to write invoices. So
Okay.
my life has always been into it.
About
So
that.
yeah, I think it's
Mhm.
because I was born into it. So it's just very easy, well, not very easy, but in a way, partially easy for me to transition into being an entrepreneur. So,
But you took a different path. I think
yeah,
you went into information technology.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So, IT is a born and then a self-discovery talent. At the age of 10 years old, I started playing piano.
Okay.
So I play in church, and then and nobody taught me. My dad just bought it because he bought it for the
Mm.
church.
Oh,
We're looking for a pianist for my church, which is the choir only sing half, no instrumentals. So when my dad bought it, so I will listen to music, then I would just go practice some keys, and I learned do re mi fa sol la ti do. Then and
mm.
those days there was no YouTube, so it's just listening type of training. So when my dad saw the interest, so he got me a piano lesson teacher. So I picked up within a month, and I started playing in church. So when
Mm.
I just love keys a lot,
Mm.
right? So then when I was in high school, I knew I was gonna be into IT. I just maybe because of what I was exposed to from the piano, and the first time I saw a computer, it's a bit of similar because you use your
Yeah,
fingers.
it
Then
is.
I just
Mm-hmm.
went into it, and yeah, I love sciences so much. I was a kid that when my parents buy me toys, I don't play with them. I open it up and I break it, and I get into trouble.
Oh, skills.
And yeah, so yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
just become something very passionate, and yeah, studied computer information technology in high school. I'm sorry, in university. Then I am today a full, well-grounded tech
So
person.
I know you talk about your parents' influence in your
hmm
entrepreneurship journey,
Yeah,
but at the Voices and Ventures event that you promoted on the weekend,
yeah,
you did make mention of your grandmother. So
yeah,
how has her influence
a lot,
helped you?
a
Yeah.
whole lot. My grandma is my everything. I grew up most of my youth era with her. So she'll come live with us. Then, so she was giving me a lot of life's value. Sometimes I don't agree with my parents. So she'll call me, teach me, tell me some mistakes that she doesn't want me to make and stuff like that. So for some reason, because she has a very soft spot for me,
Mm.
such that
They always.
when I'm sick, she's sick. So
Mm.
she cared for me way more than my mom. And because she lived in the village, when she comes to the big city and then we're sick and we are taking medication, she say
No, no.
no, no. And she use herbs, right? She
Yes.
will use herbs, lemongrass, and then if I have fever within a day, she makes sure I feel well without going to the hospital. So, and not just that, she also has a business. She's
Okay.
trading. So she trade like some grocery stuff like cookies, candies, household, materials. So I grew up helping her in our shop whenever we go to the village. Sometimes during Christmas, I will stay in a shop and then learn so much. And sometimes even so, we also do something called barter trading. So it's not
Mm.
just money. So if you're trying to buy something, and then you don't have the money, but you have something, maybe you have like a um, cooler or something,
Mm.
then you can bring your cooler, then we
Okay.
give you the worth of the cooler in what you're looking for. They
Mm.
call it barter trading exchange.
We did
So,
learn that in high school, in
mhm,
history, we learned about that.
mhm.
And it's something that they said the slaves used to
Yep,
practice still.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, influence really played a key role in my life.
Mm.
And during Voice and Ventures, I did mention, my mom passed away when she was 49. So I know it was difficult for my grandma. So
Mm.
for about 5 years, I was away from her
Mm.
because, of the emotion of losing a daughter. But when I finished university, I went to my village, reconnected again. And then when I was relocating to Canada, it was very difficult for her. Very
Mm.
difficult. And then she doesn't know anything about cell phone technology. She's not a dad, right?
Mm.
So communicating with her was very difficult. So what I do is that sometimes I'll pay someone to drive to the village just to do a phone call
Mm.
with her, like help
Okay.
her, and then we'll communicate. And till this day, we do. She prays a lot for me,
Good.
and I believe Canada has been really awesome to me. Like a lot of experience. It was,
Mm.
I remember when I came here 11 years ago, it was very difficult. It wasn't what I expected, but, God connected me with a lot of mentors and people that really came to my aid because I was this close to moving
Giving
back
up.
home. I just didn't like
Mm.
it, the culture shock, the cold, because I came January and it was the first time I'm seeing that extreme cold. But when I acclimatized, and then people just came my way. So sometimes I believe that the prayers I call it the effectual prayer of a mother availeth much. So I believe some of those prayers they say
It
to
helps.
us make this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I think is why I'm doing so much back for the community because in my journey, I've seen a lot growing up through my parents. My dad being a philanthropist, so he built a church, he built a school, and then my dad passed away 10 years ago, so I just so felt like there's more I want to give to life. So, but it's just like trying to figure out
What is?
all this, and
Mm-hmm.
then COVID came, and I think COVID made me realize my calling in life,
Mm-hmm.
and then started BBE, and then 2 years going, and then I think we've made a lot of impact. So, because everything is coming from
The
the
heart.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know you did talk about how coming to Canada give you that kind of cultural shock
Yeah.
and things like that. Would you say that would have been also part of um, some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was. So before I moved to Canada, here's the thing. So when I finished high school, so back home when you finish, sorry, when you finish university,
Mm-hmm.
so for a year you go on something called paramilitary training. So after the paramilitary training, they start looking for work. So I worked for a company, oil company for like 10 months. I just didn't like it. Like it was an IT, I just didn't like the environment. So, and I quit. I resigned, and
Mm-hmm.
people thought, "What on earth are you thinking? Like people are dying to have this job. Why would
Yeah.
you?" and I just thought this isn't for me, so I quit, and then I started my own business in Lagos. So, because when I before I started the job, I used to tell people I can fix computers, I can fix this, I can repair a laptop, I can build a laptop from scratch. And that time I do some graphics. So I just started telling people. So on the side, I was making some income. So I thought
Mm.
if I can convert my side also to full time, then it will work. So 2010 was when I quit, and I started my own business for 3 years. So I moved there 2013. So I
Okay.
set up because so when I came to Canada, so I left my business, which was doing so well. Like I was getting contract all across the country. Like I fly around, big projects. So then coming to Canada as a student,
Mm.
I it was just like you're looking like a big boys. We call it big boys back home.
Yeah.
Then coming here as a student, so it was then the environment, the weather, the culture, not being able to go out, not being able to socialize, not be.
Mm.
I can't just walk up to a neighbor and say, "Hey, I want to come hang out." So everything was just a little bit. The transport system, the bus system, it was just too much. The school, and then it was very fast paced because I studied at NAIT. So
Okay.
it was just like why if I transition from school to school is different, but school to work to school after 3 years it was just too much
Mm-hmm.
for me. And after 3 months, I said, yeah, it's not worth it. I'm moving back home.
Mm.
I had a friend I was talking to, and I said, hey man, just hang in there, you will get better, better. So, and I think not just me, a lot of people, not even from my background, experience the same thing because it's just different,
It
right?
is
And then after over time, when you understand how things work and you start making friends, then you get used to it.
100%. I know the school system, like the international students, because
Uh-huh.
I've been
Been
around
there?
international
Right.
students. It is a tough
Yes. It
journey.
is tough.
It is an extremely tough
It is
journey,
very
but
tough.
thank you for sticking it out so
Yeah.
that now you're here and your purpose is fulfilling. You've
Yeah.
started the Black Business Edmonton.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say outside of that and the things that we've seen
Hmm.
is your greatest achievement?
Okay. So I used to be a I'm not an introvert, but I'm a laid back person.
Yeah.
I'm very shy. Like I'm not the guy I'm just not that person. I like behind the scenes stuff, making things happen behind the scene, make
Mm.
it look good on the big picture. But I like working behind the scenes. So when I moved here, it was just when it was very tough. So what I did was I went to the international center in school because I was looking for a black person of my color in the whole tech department. I was the only black person, so that
Mm.
was a huge shock for me. Like, and so I went to the international center trying to see if I can I nobody was black. So one day I was playing Afrobeats on because we have like a projector. There's a
Mm.
computer on YouTube. You can go YouTube play whatever. People play different things. So when I just played one Davido song and everybody glued to the screen. So
Okay.
then when they glue, well, oh, what's this? What kind of music? So I was there explaining to them. Then the
Mm.
international center coordinator saw us having a conversation about the music. Then he said, you know what? How about we start a conversation circle? Why, what do you mean? So yeah, let's talk about it. Talk about it. And we started, so there was me, some Asian student, Indian student, Arab. So we started talking. Then I don't know if you know this song, Angel Eyes by Raghav. It's like it's the same version of Mother She Wrote, but the
Okay.
Indian version.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very, very
Okay.
common. So when I played
Mm-hmm.
it, the guy said, oh, I know this guy. His name is
Okay.
Raghav. He's on YouTube. So when I played it, then
Mm.
they were now saying, yeah, this was a song that we used to jam in school. Then it became so
Okay.
then that was on a Thursday evening because it doesn't get busy in school around that period. So the International Center said, let's make this every Thursday.
Mm.
So we did it for like a month. Then they said, you know what? Let's start peer mentorship. Say, yay, I'm excited. So I made those group my friends and I
Mm-hmm.
started leading the conversation circle. So we talk about dressing,
Okay.
food, everything, right? So then they realized that when we started doing that, more international students start coming because information starts spreading around campus that we have conversation circle, and they made me the lead. And I'm like, no, I'm not the guy. And just like from just being lonely to being
Yeah,
international
to being that
center,
person.
and it became, when we started, so we when it started the peer mentorship, it became a
Mm.
paid
No.
gig.
Mm-hmm.
So then they say, so what we start doing is that when there's new international students, when they come to the center, and then so we just help them adjust to life on campus. We take them around campus, we take them shopping, we go skating, we go bowling, we go to West Edmonton Mall. So it
Nice.
became so all the time we spend. Even got what I even said one time that how about if we get information of when the student is arriving to the country, we go to the airport, welcome them, give them some school preparedness kits. And they said, oh, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's smart idea. So I started thinking outside the box that what can make people, new students adjust to life easily. And some of my struggles, like
Yeah.
information about getting your health card, bus
Mm-hmm.
pass, all those things, right? So we started doing that. So we'll go to the airport, welcome, we wear the Nate shirt, welcome student, and I was loving it. And I
Very
made, from
nice.
zero friends, I made hundreds of friends. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So that really now made me more open-minded that even though you don't find people from your culture, make
Mm-hmm.
every other person. And at the
Everybody.
end of the day, what I realized is that even though there's different background, there's a lot of
A
similarities.
lot.
And I mentioned that during the
Mm-hmm.
voice and ventures as well. There's a lot of similarities. So, and we talked about how we cook. Then we started doing cook-off.
Mm.
So we bring food, which one tastes better. And it became my students were loving it. And they said for the first time in the international center, this is the first time this is happening. So they
Okay.
made it a permanent role now. It's still
Nice.
ongoing. So every session they
Mm-hmm.
do like rotation of peer mentorship. So I did it for 3 semesters
Very
in the
nice.
school. So it helped. So
Mm-hmm.
then it helped me adjust to life in Canada. And the first time, so I met a Nigerian student, then that took me to a Nigerian restaurant. And that was like I think after 7 months. And for the first time when I go to the restaurant, I was like, wow,
You flew back
finally, this
home.
exists in Edmonton.
Yes.
I'm like, I was
Mm-hmm.
so people of mine, not just Nigerians, other African countries, Caribbean. I'm like, wow. So I felt like in a cage, released. I
Mm-hmm.
felt
It's
like
a
a
bird.
bird, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I met so much friends. I said, then the first time I saw summer, I'm like, yes, finally, no more jackets,
And it's
no
over.
more.
It's over.
I'm like, that was June. I'm
Christmas
like,
time.
yes, now I can play football. So then I
Yeah.
said, okay, you know what? I must stay for a bit.
Okay,
So my
good.
friend I was telling that I want to move, but I said, see what I mean?
And it has also groomed you to um, be such an amazing person within this community of Edmonton that you've
Mhm.
blown up basically. And I know you
Yeah.
told me about the trade fair that is
Yeah.
happening in August, and you're
August.
bringing people outside of
Yeah.
even outside of
Yeah.
Edmonton.
From Toronto
Do
and
you
stuff.
want to tell us a bit more about
Yeah.
what to
Oh, yeah.
expect
So
there?
the trade fair we did the first one last year because my goal. So here's the thing. Before I even talk about that, so
Mm-hmm.
Black Business Edmonton started out of me looking for Black-owned business community in Edmonton. So during COVID, started working from home. So I started doing a lot of IT gigs. I was getting hired. So and I feel like I was using my talent to build so many communities, but I didn't get any project in my community. So I was looking for projects within my community. So I was just online searching for Black-owned businesses, community. I did a lot of search and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find anything. The closest I found was a Facebook group, and the last time it was probably 2018. It was like Black
Really?
something community Alberta, but it wasn't functional. So, and for someone that's very spontaneous, I'm like, you know what? In the space of problem, create a solution. So I started BBE, and then out of nothing, I started reaching out to a few friends that have businesses and say, hey, we're starting something, we can promote. And then, so because I was very vast in tech and because of my upbringing from my parents and because of all this experience I have from school, it is like
Felt
the
natural.
passion was just there,
Mm-hmm.
natural. And it was effort.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like a work to me. It was feeling like I was having a good time, reaching out to people. And it was also very hard because when you start something like this, you create social media page and you only have 50 followers, and you're trying to say, I want to promote your business, nobody's going to say it. But I kept consistency. So I'll reach out to businesses, I'll create content for them, just share it and started growing. Then for someone that like connecting as well, I started bringing people together, business owners. So after 1 year, I've seen over 100 amazing businesses. And I thought, you know what, how about we do like a market type of, not a festival, just
Mm-hmm.
strictly business and networking, right? Because I've seen a lot of festivals in it, like Heritage, Carry West, African Carnival. There's a few even outside the community, right? But because my dad used to do trade shows back home.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the plumbing world, so there'll be the plumbing section, there'll be the carpentry section, there'll be the painter section, and it's huge. They attract thousands of people, like more than 10,000 whole week. So people will travel from different parts of, even outside Nigeria, to attend those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted something similar, right? So we did the trade fair last year. It was very hard though, but I told my group that we're gonna have 90 business. They were like, "What? 90 business? How?" I said, "You'll be surprised how many business I exist in. Not all of us have the capacity to have a physical firm. Most people have a full-time job and doing it on the side, but they
For
have passion
sure.
for it, but they just
Mm-hmm.
want, a
The
space
exposure,
to
yeah.
expose. I'm like, why not, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we throw out the application within 2 weeks, over 50 businesses applied, and I'm like, see what I mean? And so I built a team, got an event planner, then we have to start raising funds, getting a venue, all those things, and that was May last year. So
Mm-hmm.
really had, because we wanted to do in summer before winter comes, so we found a date, and we also try to look for events around the community because it gets so busy in summer.
Yes,
So we
it
want to do
does.
something that is not going to clash with other community events. So we looked at the calendars. August felt like the best month towards the end of August. Selected the day, started promoting it. Long story short, we had about 155 people applied, and we only had space for. We initially thought 50. I said
Mm-hmm.
90,
Yeah.
and then we looked for a venue that can take 90, and then anyway, we pulled it off. Then we thought, see, and it was a huge success. We received 4 awards on the day, the mayor and a few MLAs. The food vendors were amazing, like they, sold out. Of course, we had some problem with the weather because it started raining towards the evening because we did indoor and outdoor.
Okay.
So the indoor was more for businesses that are like service providers because they are not selling. They're just like maybe accountant, maybe financial, literacy, insurance brokers and stuff like that, health, medical clinic. Then the people that are doing buy and sell just to attract more audience. We
Okay.
put them outside.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, we learned a lot, and I mean, for a first time event, it was very hard. So this year we thought, okay, let's find a venue that can be all indoors, and we're doing 150 businesses this year. So that's huge. So
That's
then the
good.
trade fair got seen outside Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, Manitoba, New Brunswick, and with the same people that say, hey, we want to participate next year. So I'm really excited, for it, and it's just one of the reasons why I keep believing in our community so much because I've seen talents that just blown me away,
For
like
sure.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even someone like you doing something like this, it's if it wasn't for BBE, I probably wouldn't have known.
No, yeah.
So I envision a future where we can all thrive very well as a community. So that's where the passion comes. And the funny thing about all of this is I find fun in doing this that I even like leave out my IT gig and I
Okay.
focus a lot on
On
BB.
this.
I still get
Nice.
projects, but
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like a passion project for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's very helpful
So I've learned too along this journey of life that everything happens
for
for
a
a
reason.
reason.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
it's all the challenges we've been through, all the successes, and even
Yeah.
all those downtime that kind of bring us
Yeah.
here. So I know you did say you're fastly becoming a household name in not just
Ah,
Edmonton, Alberta,
not I,
Toronto.
we.
Well,
We.
but because of you pushing forward and
Yeah.
not allowing obstacles to get
To
in the
get,
way,
oh, yeah.
right? So, where do you see yourself or the
Mm.
organization expanding?
Honestly, I don't like to be over ambitious. We've seen people reach out from Calgary, Toronto. and say, we want this to expand
Mhm.
Canada wide. Um, but for now, I love Edmonton so much, right? And
Okay.
there's a lot of work to still do
Mhm.
in Edmonton. Um, you know, for the team I have, I keep saying that I want us to achieve a lot in Edmonton, become strong, hold name in Edmonton before we start thinking to
Good.
expand
Okay.
elsewhere, right? And
Mhm.
Edmonton can even be a hub where other people
Come.
can come, right?
Mhm.
So from 2020, I've seen a huge rise of immigrants from other uh, Canada cities. Like I've seen a lot of people relocating here, and
Mhm.
most of them have a business there. But I think Alberta, I think, is the best province to have a business, and Edmonton is one of the fastest growing
Great.
Black,
Mhm.
population in Canada. So yeah, I just in the next few years, what I envision is a community where there'll be a lot of amazing talent, like a lot of success stories. It's like a lot of black success, black excellence. I see a future where we can have our own media station. We can
Mhm.
have our own event venue, event center, where some of these barriers that we face, can
Mhm.
be reduced. There's a lot. It's very challenging, putting this forward. The trade fair that we hosted last year looked very, successful, but the work, the challenges we faced behind
Behind the
was
scene,
very,
yeah.
is very challenging. But yeah, I see a future where I don't like to use the word visible minorities or
Mhm.
minorities.
Yeah.
We are majorities.
Yeah.
That's where I see it, right?
Mhm.
So I see a future where we pave way where our upcoming generation will carry on from this legacy. So it's honestly like living in this country for 11 years compared to when I arrived to where we are at now. It's been a lot of improvement. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
like I said, even though I created this initiative, but at this point, I don't like taking all the accolades because it's a community initiative. So when I see my brother or my sister succeed in their business,
Business.
that's where my joy comes from. So I want to see Kezia show becoming a TV show.
Yes,
Why
that
not?
is my vision
Right?
too.
I was saying to someone
Mhm.
that what is stopping us from having our own Amazon
Thing.
Prime or Netflix documentary where we
Mhm.
can tell our stories, you know what I mean? So yeah, believe so much in yourself and then just keep trying, believe in God, have faith, have faith, very
Okay.
important. Believe.
Mhm.
There's a documentary called the Secret Law of Attraction.
I saw that.
They saw that.
Mhm.
Honestly, the earth listens,
Yeah.
right? So you
Mhm.
confess what you want, life to me, and time is moving. If you have a dream, you're thinking maybe I'll start next year in 2 years' time. There's no time.
You don't even time is not guaranteed
Nineteen are
either,
granted exactly. So
right?
start it right now.
And
Right
it's
now.
one of the reasons for me that I wrote this book,
Mm-hmm. I
111
know. Yeah.
Positive Thoughts, because I
Mm-hmm.
find that even in myself, people might look at me and they might say, "Oh, she's so confident, she's so this."
Yep.
But the challenge with those negative thoughts
Yep.
that pop up, that
I'm telling you.
you might think that, yeah, Kiss, you can do it, but if I don't believe that I can do it,
That's it. Right?
really, it wouldn't
Yep.
go
Exactly.
anywhere.
Exactly. So
So yeah,
that's
the
it.
self belief is very imperative. It's also very important too because it helps with the critics, because
Yeah.
with every greatness there's going to be
Oh yeah. Oh
criticism,
yeah. And
right?
you have to be open
And you
into
have to be
that
open to
as
that.
well. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for every critic, find it as a way for you to learn and improve and keep developing, keep
100%.
learning.
Mm-hmm.
Learning is continuous; it never stops. Learning doesn't have to be, school. There's a lot of resources on YouTube. I tell people there's a lot. When I watch YouTube, of course, I listen to music, but most of my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is filled with a lot of learning. I
Good.
learn a lot, so
All
yeah,
right.
we keep going.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
today
you
for
for
joining
having me.
me. I wish you so much success
Thank you
from
so much.
deep within my heart, so much success in your endeavors. You've really helped a lot of people. So
Mhm.
that in itself is a really good legacy to hold on to.
Mhm.
And thank you, viewers,
Thank you,
for
everyone.
watching. I always like to leave you guys with an affirmation. And again, it will be intuitively guided through this book. And this week's affirmation would be, I am grateful for the experience experience that have made me who I am today. And it also ties in
Mm,
within
two
our
words.
conversation today.
It's
So
really great.
thank you again for
Thank you,
watching.
guys.
Remember tuning 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time every Friday for an episode of the Kezia Hinds Show. And until then, be kind to yourselves and kind to
To others.
others. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.